Hey gang, I'm Nick Vavis and welcome to City of Churches, where we take an in-depth look at some really special churches in the Brooklyn Diocese and explore the neighborhoods that surround them. Now, how many neighborhoods can you name that boast 5 different zip codes, a library with the largest selection of books anywhere in the USA, an international airport, and a farmhouse that dates back to the 18th century? Today I'm in Jamaica, Queens to visit Presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary and explore the unique history of the neighborhood that surrounds it. I'm on the corner of Jamaica Avenue and Parsons Boulevard. Clearly, this is the heart of Jamaica with all the hustle and bustle. This is one of the easiest neighborhoods to get to because it's a major transportation hub with the bus lines, subway lines, and the Long Island Railroad. Now, this Jamaica has absolutely nothing to do with the Caribbean island of Jamaica. The name Jamaica originates from the Jamaica tribe of the Lenape Indians, who were the original inhabitants of this land until they sold it to the Dutch for guns, ammunition, and coats. The late 1600s, the British came in and they took over the area until they were defeated in the American Revolutionary War. One of the officers in George Washington's Continental Army was a man named Rufus King. He was a member of the Continental Congress and a 4-term senator who opposed slavery. King was also one of the writers and signers of the U.S. Constitution. He lived here from 1805 until 1827. That was his house over there still standing, a treasured landmark of American history. Today, it's known as King Manor Museum, and it's situated on 11 acres in the heart of busy Jamaica. Now, it's been a museum since 1900, and his son John later became governor of New York. Since 1898, Jamaica has been the county seat of Queens with 3 courthouses, the Civil Court and the Supreme Court over on Sutphin Boulevard, and the Family Court over on Parsons Boulevard. Thousands of cases are resolved inside these buildings each year. The library with the highest circulation anywhere in the entire United States can be found here in Jamaica at the central branch of the Queens Public Library System. In 2009, the Queens Public Library was named Library of the Year by the Library Journal, which is a national publication. From the mid-1800s to the mid-1900s, a lot of Irish and German families lived here. And for the last half-century, this area is predominantly African-American. But in the last 10 years or so, a lot of other ethnic groups moved in, including Hispanic, Caribbean, and South Asian. Downtown Jamaica is separated from the more residential areas of Jamaica Hills and Jamaica Estates by Hillside Avenue. Now, Hillside Avenue has a lot of shops that really reflect the diversity of the community and the various ethnic groups. It runs all the way through Jamaica and out into Nassau County. There's an interesting crescent-shaped park on Hillside Avenue. It's between 173rd and 175th Street, and it was named in honor of Major John W. Mark. He was a local resident who was killed in action during the First World War. Later, this 1896 Soldiers and Sailors Monument was moved into the park. Notice how it features an angel holding a wreath and palm to commemorate the soldiers and sailors from Queens who died in the American Civil War. The main shopping strip here is Jamaica Avenue, and it has been for over 100 years. You can buy anything here from fashionable clothing to jewelry, sneakers, you name it. And there's even a huge modern multiplex theater behind me at the Jamaica Center. At one time, there used to be an old elevated subway line that ran along Jamaica Avenue, but it was dismantled in the 1960s, which cleared up a lot of open space and a lot less noise, if you can believe that. There's still plenty of transportation around here, including the bus terminal on 165th Street, directly across the street from the main library. From there, you can make connections to Eastern Queens as well as Nassau County. The old meets the new here at the Sutphin Boulevard Transit Hub. Notice how the classic design of these old buildings on each corner are a historic reminder of the area's development during the early 20th century. Look closely at the unusual curved architecture of that corner building above the drugstore. There's no other structure like that around here. Also notice the stylized brickwork of the other corner buildings, which gives us a glimpse into this neighborhood's past. But looking towards the future is an ultra-modern, multi-level transportation center completed in 2003. Below ground is the E, J, and Z subway lines, and above that is the Long Island Railroad's Jamaica station, which links to Manhattan in the west and Long Island to the east. And if you need a fast and comfortable ride to nearby JFK International Airport, hop aboard the Air Train. It's a quick trip that circles the airport and stops at each terminal before returning here to the transit hub. Now, I'm on Parsons Boulevard, which used to be known as Flushing Avenue, and it was named after William Barclay Parsons, who was a brilliant civil engineer. He designed the complex underground infrastructure that was New York's first subway system, which is still in use today. And so we've arrived at the church, and it really, really is spectacular. It's a very Gothic, sort of classic look. The architecture's amazing, a lot of statues of angels, the steeple, quite ornate, and there's one particular statue in front that I'd like to ask Father O'Connor about. And if you look from above, the church is actually in the shape of a cross. So Father O'Connor's waiting inside for us. Let's go inside. He's waiting to greet us. Father O'Connor.
Hey, Nick, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. Welcome to Presentation Blessed Virgin Mary here in the heart of Jamaica.
Name, Presentation of Blessed Virgin Mary.
Long name because it's a great parish.
Tell me about why that name, the Presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary, as opposed to St. Mary's or something shorter.
The founding pastor, Father Ignatius Zeller, was a convert from Lutheranism to Catholicism. And one of the main reasons why he became Catholic was his devotion to the Blessed Mother. So he wanted to honor Our Lady with a special name. So he chose that particular name.
Coming in from the outside, it's got sort of an antiquated look.
Right.
It looks a little bit older. What's the history of this building itself?
This building in itself is the third church built on this site for the parish. The first church was built in 1886, second one in 1892. And this particular building was built in 1923 to serve the German-speaking population of Jamaica. This area is heavily German. And so this building was then, so the Germans built things to last. So you can see how beautiful the building is, the neo-Gothic structure.
Beautiful.
And we're going to be celebrating our 125th anniversary next year. The first Mass was in a farmhouse. The first Mass was celebrated May 16th, 1886. And then they built a small wooden structure here.
So the first parish and the first structure, and then that was replaced later by a larger...
A larger church, was the wooden church, was in 1892. And then again, that one wasn't big enough, so they built this church to accommodate
the parish growing itself.
So originally this church was to be able to sit 900 people. I think it was 900 people back then who were not as heavy as I am.
Right. Well, we're going to do a lot of walking, so we're going to exercise both of us throughout this tour.
Sounds good to me.
So also from the front, there was two statues. There's one that at the front, at the door of the church. Is that something that's original to the church?
That's the statue of St. Michael the Archangel. Okay. And that was built and put onto the church to commemorate those who served during World War I. The statue you see in front lawn, the rectory, has only been there about 4 weeks.
It's beautiful.
A statue of Mary Immaculate. That statue was originally from Mary Immaculate Hospital, which is right down the block from us.
Okay.
The hospital closed a year ago, and our parish was the instrumental in founding the hospital. Our founding pastor, Father Zeller, was the one who named it Mary Immaculate. So I asked Bishop DeMarza permission to obtain that statue, and we're going to have a plaque to honor all those who served in the hospital.
So clearly he said yes. You can
yes, I got it. Yeah, with a slight donation to the diocese.
Okay. No, it's really nice. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Do people actually do anything there, donations or worship or any ceremonies?
Absolutely. A lot of people have been very generous helping. We had to repair the statue. It was very dirty, so we had to get it cleaned up. It was little chips in here and there, and so it was just repaired. So, and actually the fence you see in front of the rectory is brand new. That was just put in last week.
You've been with the parish for how long?
About 5.5 years. I came here in January 2005.
In 2005. And then I understand there's a painting over my right shoulder on the wall.
The painting over there is a representation of the presentation was the Virgin Mary. When Bishop DeMarzio asked me to be the pastor of this great parish, I wanted to give the people something. So the sacristan, my last parish, Mario, is an artist from Ecuador. So I gave him a few images I found on the internet, said, can you paint me something?
Right.
And he went ahead and painted that for me. And then, the day I was installed, I presented to the parish as my gift
So
to
on
them.
your installation day, that's when you
Installation day.
presented it. So was the idea of the presentation of the Blessed Mother, that idea or concept, I didn't know, like there's a presentation.
With the
from
feast
her to
day, the church calendar is November 21st. It's an actual
Okay.
feast day. Was much more in the Eastern Church. In the West, adopted it much later. But it comes not from Scripture. It's a prophetical story that one day, Joachim and the parents of Mary, brought her to the temple when she was a young girl, 3 or 5 years of age, to present her to God and consecrate her to God.
Okay. Hence the presentation. Okay. There's a great echo in here too.
Oh,
It really
yes.
is.
Yeah,
The ceilings are huge. I mean, the style is really incredible.
The ceiling's very high. Bishop DeMarzio was here a few weeks ago for confirmation. He said to me, your church is a cathedral. I said, yeah.
Good to make it a basilica. Why not? It is. It's, you know, it stills you when you walk in. It really is quite beautiful. And so the structure itself, I mean, this is the original building that we're looking at, the architecture.
The architecture, yeah.
You know.
When I built this church in 1923. There was a major renovation done in the 40s, and then also in 1998. They did a renovation when they painted the church. They brought the altar out, which we'll see in a few moments.
Okay.
And restored a lot of the artwork.
The shrine to my right, tell me a bit about this.
Well, one of the most famous images of Mary is Our Lady of Guadalupe from Mexico, who's also the Empress of the Americas. We have a growing Mexican community, but everyone really has a devotion to Our Lady of Guadalupe because she is the patroness of all the Americas.
Right.
And we have a major celebration every year in December. We have Mass at night, December 11th. We have the church open all night long. People come in all night long to bring flowers. Mananitas, we sing songs at 5 o'clock in the morning. Another big Mass mariachi band in the evening. And people come and she gets lots of flowers all week long. People come and ask her for favors and intercession.
What are the primary then ethnic groups or that make up the parish, would you say?
Our parish is about 85% Hispanic. Hispanic, but the largest group would be Guatemalan. We have the largest group of Guatemalans in New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the biggest group after that would be Salvadoran. Salvador. And then continuing on, we have Mexicans, Colombians, Ecuadorians. We have people from every country in Latin America.
There's a lot of stained glass, just looking around, from the larger ones and the smaller ones above.
Right.
Do you know if a lot of this is original?
This will mostly be original. When I built the church, there's a lot of devotions to the saints on the top, some German saints.
Are they German designed? I know a lot of.
I don't know exactly where they came
yeah.
from, but a lot of it did come from Germany. I'm sure a lot of it did.
Do you have a favorite window or stained glass window?
My favorite window would be the one right here. Jesus walking on water, and Peter actually walking on water himself until he takes his eyes off Christ.
Right.
He starts to sink, and he says, in the image here is Christ save me. I see my own self as being Peter sometimes. You know, when I take my eyes off of Christ, I too sink. So I need to keep my eyes always on Christ.
Okay, that's good. It's a reminder.
So that's one of my favorite
It's a
ones.
lesson for you. And the Stations of the Cross as well, which we see in all churches. These are they're actually larger and very architecturally, they're really
magnificent. When I bring
detail.
priest friends come to visit me for the first time to walk in, sometimes they look at those stations.
Yeah,
they're
they're
so
incredible.
dramatic, you know, and they're very beautiful.
Are the confessionals still in use? I know we passed one or
We
two.
see the 4 shrines, our church, those were originally where the confessionals. Our confessional now is in the back, and that was the original baptistry.
Well, let's talk about the choir loft since we're turning back. Is that still working, the organ?
The organ we have now is new. We purchased it back in 2007. It's an Allen digital organ, so it sounds as though it's an actual pipe organ.
Okay.
And our choirs sing up in the choir loft.
Oh, they do.
And the parish, we had several fundraisers to raise the money to pay for the organ.
Okay.
A couple of dances. And
How are the acoustics in here? It sounds
acoustics
good
are
when you're up there.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. Let's talk a little bit more about like the paintings, like these gigantic murals on this side and that side of the wall.
These paintings were put in the church after World War II, so in the mid-40s. This particular image is magnificent and it's being unusual. You don't see it. And it's Mary after the crucifixion. So it's St. John and Mary Magdalene taking Mary home after Jesus has been crucified.
Right. It's very three-dimensional. I mean, it really is. The details are amazing.
And it was restored back in 1998 when the parish had a major capital campaign in restoration.
Okay, so fairly recently.
Right. And then on this side, it's Christ before Pilate.
Why the baptismal font that's below that? Is that the original place that was?
No,
Was that removed, like in many
where the
churches?
confessional is where the baptistry
you
was.
mentioned that. That's
Right,
what
it was
it was.
baptistry.
Okay.
A lot of the material is original for the church. It's from the altar rail.
So, Father, tell me about the mosaic or the image above the baptismal font.
That's the image of Our Lady Miraculous Medal, which is one of my personal favorites in devotions. We have the Miraculous Medal Novena every Monday after the 12:15 Mass. So it's a beautiful mosaic of her. As being a Marian parish, we have lots of Marian images. So
There's a lot of ceremonies, it seems like, or small masses throughout the day, and like more than I've heard that most churches have.
Well, the church is open all day long. So we started that a few years ago. We had a major parish assembly, and all the parishes did, and one of the things that came up was that people wanted the church to be open. Actually, I remember being as a young man wanting to pray and go to my parish church and find the doors locked and being frustrated. So
Right.
so it stuck with me. So it's very important to me that church be open. So even though we're in a rough neighborhood to a certain degree, we keep the church open.
You still keep it open?
All day, from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening, sometimes later. And several hundred people come through all week long to come pray. And just a year and a half ago, we started Adoration of Blessed Sacrament every day. Sure, that's St. Teresa of Lisieux, the little flower, before Mary, baby Jesus, one of the most beloved saints of the 20th century. So people would also come and bring roses to put before her, asking for her intercession.
I want to talk about too the like where we're standing now. We're right before the altar, and it's been extended. You told me earlier.
In 1998, they did a renovation, and the idea is to bring the altar out so it's closer to the community. To the people. So this is the second platform. The first one was some difficulties. In front of the altar, you'll see that is the image of the Last Supper, a replica of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper.
Did you lose a lot of seating once you did
Yeah, we
this?
did, which actually hurts us sometimes on Sundays because we have some very large crowds and we have people standing off at the back.
Right. Are there other buildings attached to the church or near the church? I know there's the rectory, obviously, next door.
Right.
The parish school that I passed.
The parish school building, which closed, the school itself closed in 2007 after 120 years of teaching.
Is it being used now?
I maintain the first floor for the parish. We call it our Parish Evangelization Center. So we have adult classes during the week, religious classes for children sometimes a week, and the top 2 floors been rented out to the Department of Education of New York City.
Oh, good. So it's still...
This parish is busy every night. We can't come here and not find something going on.
Yeah, it was a nice looking building.
Yeah,
I'd walk
you're
by.
at that.
So can we actually go up and talk about the altar?
Sure.
My father? Okay. So one of the things you mentioned earlier is how the altar was pulled out. You have all this open space now to work with, so that's a good thing.
Not so much work, but we have lost quite a bit of seating, so
that's the bad thing.
That's the bad part, but it makes it a little more open. Over here is the Sacred Heart, which feast we celebrate this coming Friday, Sacred Heart of Jesus. And on the other side, it's Mary's Immaculate Conception.
And the gates on the altar.
Right.
I saw a few people praying when we first came in, and it's sort of like a private area.
It was meant to make it into like a Blessed Sacrament chapel, so it'll be somewhat separate from the church. That was the concept. So people come up and pray before the Eucharist.
It's much more intimate and private. We have to talk about the 5 paintings that surround the altar, because these are absolutely beautiful.
When I first came to the parish in 2005, we had some water infiltration problems, and we had a lot of damage, so we're fixing it, and the people who were painting the columns, repairing them, I just asked the company, said, I have these 5 empty spaces.
So it was just white wall?
This is white walled and, outlined in the gold, and that's it. It looks like something should be there. So the owner of the company, Garjul Brothers, told me he had an artist. got some images off the internet, couple things, artwork I had, and presented the artist. So this is what I'm thinking of. The first one over here is the Visitation was the Virgin Mary. That's when Mary has already found out that she's going to be the mother of Christ, and her cousin Elizabeth is also going to be the mother of St. John the Baptist. So she runs to assist her cousin in her need. The second one is probably my personal favorite. It's the flight into Egypt. That was donated by the school children when the school closed. So I asked them to wrote water coins in. We just came to fill these big water bottles of coins, and we wrote a TD bank, put it through, and we were able to raise the money to pay for that image. And I like that one particularly too because I wanted an image of St. Joseph, being a man who stands by his family and is with his family no matter how hard it gets. One above the reredos, above the tabernacle, is Mary, Queen of Heaven, two angels on the side. The next one is the Pieta, Mary holding Christ after he's been crucified. And that's been very helpful dealing with women who've lost their children. And prayed with them in front of that and telling them, Mary understands your pain. And go to Mary, she'll help you. And then the last one is Pentecost. Mary with the apostles at Pentecost, and you see the Holy Spirit coming down upon them.
So these were all donated. So
all donated.
The parish, and there's a lot of support here.
Support, absolutely. And the people loved it. People still, it's been, I guess, 3 years. Father is beautiful, Father is wonderful. And I really believe in using art and architecture to teach people about beauty. And when you learn about beauty, they learn about God.
There's something else too that I want to ask you about is this mosaic tiling, which looks very original to the church and very old, and I'm guessing that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the church built in 1923, so that was here. The altar rail went up to here.
Okay.
So
did you have that removed, or it was removed?
It was removed back in '98, prior to my arrival. That's when they moved the altar out, and they used the altar rail. You can see in the altar here, pieces in the altar rail, and in the baptismal font.
Well, there's probably enough. I mean, with the gates themselves, if you also had the altar rail, that's a lot of separation, it seems, you know, between the back of the altar. There's something that I wanted to ask you if you could show me, and it's something kind of special, and you said one of the most unique things about this church, so that's the next thing I'm going to ask you to show me, if you wouldn't mind.
No problem. Let's go.
Okay.
Over here is the shrine to the Cristo Negro, the Cristo de Esquipulas. So it's a great pride for our parish. This image of Black Christ is an exact replica of the image in Esquipulas in Guatemala. It's a town in southern Guatemala. And the story behind it is the first bishop of Guatemala was very ill. He went to this image of the Black Christ and prayed in front of it and became cured of his illness. And ever since then, it's become a pilgrimage site. So not just for Guatemalans, Salvadorans, Nicaraguans, Hondurans, come in buses to the pilgrimage site in Esquipulas. The original statue itself is made out of corn husk, which is the reason why it has such a dark color to it. And about 3 years ago, we added the extra statues of Mary Magdalene, and St. John the Apostle. And all these images were made in Guatemala and shipped here.
Oh, they were? Were they made in Esquipulas?
I don't know the actual town Esquipulas, but artists in Guatemala.
They're made in Guatemala, here. And this is an exact replica, size and everything.
Right.
As far as you know?
The statue of Christ, the other three images are very similar to the ones there, but the cross in the actual Christ body.
This is something that I really haven't seen before, like on this scale or this size. Anywhere else.
We have two major feast days every year. The actual feast, the Cristo Negro, is January 15th. So the Saturday closest to that, we have a big celebration. We take this image, we put it on the front of the altar.
Okay.
And also we have another major celebration in September because January is kind of cold.
Right.
So in September we have an all-day festival. We have a procession with a small image of it for the streets. And then we put this image out in front of the altar. And we get about 2,000 people during the course of the day come to the festival. And we get people from all the tri-state area, dignitaries of Guatemalan consulate come as well. And one of the things I like about the Cristo Negro is it's not just important to the Central Americans, but our English-speaking community is minority as well, mostly Blacks, African Americans, Trinidadians, and they have a connection because it's an image of the Black Christ. So it's not just with Guatemalans, it really speaks to a lot of other people.
Is this pretty much known in the community that this is here? I mean,
very much so.
People,
people come, like I said, sometimes you get people come from Connecticut, New Jersey, because they want to come and visit the image. because they know it's here.
There's a lot of paper down there with people writing there.
Yeah, there's a basket full of intentions. So intentions and prayer requests that they put before Christ.
That is very full.
That's right. And also it's a source of pride because it makes the Guatemalans feel connected to home.
Right.
Because a lot of them are here and are sending money home, trying to support their families, and this is a connection to home.
I can't think of a better way to end this than in front of something that's very special to you and to the church. And I want to thank you for the tour. We learned a lot today. So thank you. The paintings are incredible too, by the way. Good idea with the
Thank you.
the altar stuff.
The community is very proud of the parish and
Yeah.
the church, so it's a great source of pride for the community.
Excellent.
So thanks a lot.
It's great to meet you, and
Very
thank
much.
you again for the tour.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Appreciate it. Thank
Okay.
you. And with that, we wrap up this episode of the presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And if you'd like more information on this episode or any other church in our series, you can log on to netny.net. And if you'd like to suggest a church we should profile, you can log on there as well. I'm Nick Vavis. Thanks for joining me on this episode of City of Churches.